work that we're doing to become the highest, grandest expression of ourselves, the work that we need to do internally. Remember, you heard this over and over again here, over and over again. It is not your external world that creates your internal world. It is your internal world that creates your external world. It is not your job. It is not the thing that's outside of you that is controlling how you feel. It's not your family or the thing outside of you that's controlling inside of you. It is not what's happening in the external world, in your environment, that is what's controlling your internal world. It's the other way around. It's your internal world. It's how you think about things. It's your feelings, your emotions. It's those things that then are determining how you are interacting with the external world. Dr. Joe Dispenza, again, he has the doctor, he talks about the neurological side, the stuff that we may talk about on these mindset calls, ladies and gentlemen, of the thesis. If you change your thinking, you change your life. Sometimes it may be inspiration and motivation for you, but you take someone like a Dr. Joe Dispenza and he's going to tell you the actual like biological, neurological implications of these things. Like this is the way your brain actually operates. It's not, we're all a human species, right? So a lot of these things are similar. We might say, oh, this is my circumstance. This is my circumstance. I was born here. I grew up like this. I did this. We all have these different experiences, sure, but we're all the same thing. We all operate the same way. Our bodies are, the human being is designed the same way. So once we learn these things, that's when we can change these things. Remember, awareness is the first step to change. Here's some things that I wrote down, right? Are we conditioned in our emotional state? Sometimes we don't think about this, ladies and gentlemen, but you may be, when we talk about comfort zones, when I tell you, when I encourage you to push you outside of your comfort zone, nothing grows inside of where you're comfortable. Do you know that you have a right, an emotional home, a comfort zone of your emotions? There's certain emotions that you like to feel or that you choose to feel every single day, whether it be stress, whether it be anger, whether it be grief, whether it be sadness, whether it be fulfillment, whether it be joy, whether it be peace, whether it be gratitude. Like we actually choose which emotions we're going to feel all the time. And that's what leads to people saying, this is how I am. This is someone's temperament, right? This is who they are. It's because they're choosing a set of emotions that are natural for them, that are comfortable for them. They know how to operate in them. As much as people may want to get out of stress, if you've been living in survival mode and a stressful place in your body, like neurologically, like you've been actually stressed a ton, that's actually an emotional home for you. So as much as you're like, I want peace, it actually would be too much of a shock to you, right? Like you actually don't know what that's like. It would actually be too much of a change and you'd get back to something stressful. If you leave it from your family stress, it turns into work stress. If you take it away from work stress, it turns into health stress. If we take it away from health stress, it turns into financial stress because actually the thing that's comforting is the predictability of stress or pain. We don't think of these things all the time because we're not always aware of this stuff. But again, for us, you want to go off and get to your ideal life. You want to get to the life you don't need a break from. Well, then we have to start identifying some of these things. Your environment is what controls you. Typically, your environment, if you're not aware enough to change this self-talk, to know that your internal world is creating your external, then it's the environment that's around you that's triggering you to experience certain things. So if we want to change, if we want to make changes, we have to change our environment. We have to change what we're around, what we listen to, who we're around, those types of things. I wrote down that stress hormones bring focus to the body, bring focus to, right, what you're feeling. And so we have to be able to think above what we're feeling. We need to be able to think beyond what we're actually feeling. If we just are taking our lives at face value of what we feel, we'll never get to the life we don't need a break from. You'll never be able to build the capacity you need to handle the life you're asking for if we can't think above our feelings. If we operate out of how we feel that day. how we feel about a certain thing. We'll never be able to get there, ladies and gentlemen. So a couple things to remember. Change is greater than is thinking greater than your environment, than your body, all those things. All right. I wrote down your voices lead to the same choices. The same voices that you have are leading you to the same choices. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Thinking the same exact thoughts over and over again, expecting something to change. Doing the exact same things in your health, in your spiritual life, in your relationships, and expecting a different outcome. Definition of insanity. So those same voices that we have lead to the same choices. That's why this is a process of changing those voices, changing what you're saying to yourself. What if we rewired and learned to rewire our brain? The things you think are correct. Maybe you have to challenge that thinking. About a week ago, we listened to Dr. Darius Daniels talk about that belief system, right? Being a collection of our experiences, right? Our interpretation of those experiences, the information that we've received, the observations that we've had, that has created a belief system in us. So that belief system from those things is gotten us exactly to where we are in life. Again, you have to take responsibility for that. Where you are in your health life, where you are in your financial life, where you are in your relationships, where you are in your spiritual life, where you are in your fun and recreation, and all the stuff is a culmination of how your belief system has gotten you to this place. So a lot of times I ask people, how did you, right? Who taught you to think that way? How did we get to thinking that way? Because that's creating the life that we have. So now if we want to get to the next part of our life, we got to unlearn some of those things. We got to change those voices in our head. Change those voices. Now, what are some things that Dr. Joe Dispenza just gave you in there? One, he said you start your day off going inward. I know y'all have heard this from me for however long you've been following this, right? I say the exact same things over and over again because, again, there's only so many things you need to do to become successful. But this is one of them. How you start your day matters. How you start your day matters. You taking the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour of your day, the first part of your day, specifically for you, specifically to go inward, to cut out the noise. It's the opposite of what most people do. Just understand, most people, the masses, they're either being awoken by an alarm clock, meaning, right, they're jumping out of their sleep and they're jumping right into their routine. Shower, breakfast, out the door, job, yada, 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 right? Like it's kind of the same thing. Woken up by children or woken up by something that's not in their environment or, not just them getting up. And then touching the phone, turning on the TV, looking at an electronic, seeing what the weather, like we're always moving at the first part of the day. But what if you changed that habit? What if you just made that switch? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So as I'm telling you to prepare for 2026, what if you just made a switch? What if you just said, hey, no, really, the first 30 minutes of the day are going to be mine. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to hydrate myself. I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to walk. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to journal. I'm going to read. I'm going to do something that just focuses on what I need, what my mind, spirit, what I need. If I turn my mornings inward and not make them about, I got to get going, what would that do to my life? What I've told you, and maybe what you just heard from Dr. Joe Dispenza, is that's when you can get a full handle on your life, on your emotions, on your thought life, which leads to your habits, which leads to your emotions and all the things. It's when you can take the first 30 minutes of your day minimally for you. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about meditation. Meditation is tough for many people, but it is literally, right, your ability to focus inward, to focus on one thing. Like he said in there, it's not the zoning out. It's not the, I don't know what's going on. It's the, I'm actually so intentional that I'm present. When's the last time you've been present in your body, present in your mind, present in, right, in where you are? This is what helps, is if you can practice things like meditation, if you can take the first 30 minutes of your day just to tap into you. Now you have clarity. Now you can let the world in. Now you can let your family in. Now you can let your coworkers in. Now you can start to think about the day. The extra credit, like I always tell y'all, is if you do the same thing at the end of the night. If you take the last 30 minutes of your day just for you, not for the noise, not for anything that can, right, you can consume with your eye gates or ear gates, but literally just sitting with you, reflecting on the day, checking in with yourself in your emotional state, in your physical state, in your health, in whatever it is, like, can you now take the last 20 or 30 minutes of the day for yourself? What if this were a practice for you all 2026? What if this were the one thing that you changed that could get you a different result? Was just, I'm going to be more intentional about my morning, my first 30 minutes of the day, and my last 30 minutes. Could be something that completely changes your life. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. Starting your day off by going inward is important. Your thoughts become your habits. Your thoughts become your habits. That was what I was going to show you in the 177 mental toughness secrets. There's a few different ones. Again, I can always dive into, but your thoughts become your habits. Whatever you start thinking about, how you think about it creates your beliefs. Your belief creates your actions, right? Like kind of how you operate in things, and how you operate in things over time creates your habits. So if you have habits that you want to get away from, you probably want to go back to, well, why do I think about it this way? How do I think about money? How do I think about spending? How do I think about my health? How do I think about my relationships? How do I think about these types of things, right? The more we can change our thinking actively, that's when we get the outcomes in our lives to change. So your thoughts become habits. You got to replace that self-talk. If there's something to practice for yourself this Friday, this weekend, as you go out, capture your thoughts. Remember, your thoughts are not you. They're just things, right? Your thoughts are out here. It says scripturally, we can take all thoughts into captivity. That means your thoughts are outside of you. So can you identify what you're thinking about? And can you say, hey, that thought doesn't serve me? That thought of fear, of scarcity, of anxiety, of whatever it is, that thought doesn't serve where I'm going. And I need to rewire that self-talk, that it is possible, that I am capable, that, right, I am loved. Whatever the things are that you need to constantly remind yourself in order to get yourself to the place where you can have that life that you're asking for, that's what we need to do. So I share this with you over and over again, right? My master plan to energize and focus, that plan there, I read to myself over and over and over again. Why? Because it rewires whatever thinking I did have in the past, whatever thoughts I was programmed with, whatever belief system I do have from my experiences, from my observations, from the information that I've received, from the environments I've been in, whatever thoughts I have, I can rewire it to the thoughts I need to have about the future version of myself, operating out of the future, not out of the past. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about all the time. If you want to pick up a book of his, right? It's the last book I just listened to of his. I think it's called The Habit of, right, getting out of the habit of being yourself, or something like that. Something about the habit of being yourself, breaking the habit of being yourself, something like that, right? But it's important because, again, we are on the journey to get to the life you don't need a break from. This isn't for the masses. This isn't for everybody. Not everyone wants to be great. Not everybody wants to change. Some people are okay being exactly where they are in life. They've conditioned themselves that, like, it's not that bad. I'm okay where I'm at. That's totally fine for them. For us, for the people like you and I, that we know that there's more. You know that you want more, that there's more ahead. Then we have to go to work actually changing how we think so we can get some different results. Life is not about the destination. It's about building the capacity you need to handle the life that you're asking for. You want to go be financially independent. You need a capacity that you do not currently have to go be financially independent. You want to be supremely healthy. You want to have great relationships. You want to have life exactly where you want it. You need to now go build the capacity to handle all those things. Sitting in the volume of your discomfort, whether that's emotional discomfort, physical discomfort, like whatever the discomfort is, you know that's where things are growing. It's outside of your comfort zone. So whether that's in your emotions or whether that's in just in what you do on a daily basis, y'all, we got to train ourselves to get better at being uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's going to be unlock some great things for you guys. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. If nobody tells you, I'll constantly remind you. People are counting on you to win. They're counting on you to get this information and actually do something with it. They're counting on you to change your thinking so you can change your habits. They're counting on you to actually like make a pathway for them. So when times get really hard for them, they know exactly what they should do because they're watching you. They're watching you climb the mountain. They're watching you get stronger. They're watching you sacrifice. They're watching you do jump on morning mindset calls, read, change the way that you operate. They're watching. You have to stay diligent and continue to do these things so you can get to that best version of yourself, y'all. Go out, do something that scares you this weekend, do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, do something that your future self is going to thank you for. You're going to look back and be like, man, remember that December in 2025 when Chris was telling me to do this and I changed this and I went out there and I did this weekend? Man, that changed the trajectory of my life. That gave me exactly what I needed. That helped me see something different, and it changed exactly how my life was going to go from there on out. And that's what we're going to continue to build on. Do something this weekend that your future self is going to thank you for. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Love you guys. Take care.